Hey guys, how you guys doing? Welcome back to the channel. Before we start today's video though, I'd like to take a minute and ask you to please hit that thumbs up button, hit that subscribe button, and that notification button so that way you get notified of every new video that we make. If you are new to this operating system, Linux that is, setting up your desktop can feel a bit overwhelming, but don't worry, man, because in today's video, I'm going to share with you 3 must-do things while setting up your Linux desktop for the first time. These tips will help you get started and make your Linux experience so much more smoother and enjoyable. First, we're going to talk about one thing that's very, very important, and that's the update your system. Linux distributions often release updates and patches to improve security. Now, if your distribution is a few days old or just a few days, like you download it within, like, say, 3 days of the distribution, maybe even a week, you don't need to worry about it so much, because in these updates, they're basically adding security patches and some new features, mostly security patches and bug fixes. To update your system, all you simply got to do is open a terminal, type in the command sudo apt update followed by sudo apt upgrade after the update is completed in distros that are based off Debian or Ubuntu. In Fedora or any distro that is based off of it, type in sudo dnf update and then sudo dnf upgrade. As for Arch-based distros, then, well, you're going to want to type in the command in pacman, is their package manager, and it's going to be sudo pacman, all lowercase, dash capital S YYU. However, this type of distro, as a new to Linux user, is probably something you shouldn't be using because it's a rolling release distro and you can very easily experience breakage in it because it's so bleeding edge and very, well, let's just say sometimes developers just push things before they should be, tested and ready. There's not as much testing going on in the Arch distribution packages before they release them. Manjaro, which is a Arch-based distribution out there that is very popular amongst new to Linux users because it can, well, all Arch Linux distributions are very easy to install and they're deceiving this way. They hold back their packages over at Manjaro for a while before they roll them out. So if you are going to try as a new to Linux user Arch distribution, I would strongly suggest that it be Manjaro, simply because of the way that they hold back packages. Now, Manjaro's not without fault. I'll warn you now, just saying, it's not without fault. It has done many things in the past that are like, what are you thinking, boys? What are you thinking? But yet they still do it. So it's not the greatest distribution out there for Arch at all, but for a new to Linux user, it's probably the best jumping in point for Arch, all in all, even though you may have a negative experience with it. But all in all, this will ensure that your system is up to date and running very smoothly. Secondly, customizing your desktop environment. That's another thing you must do because not every desktop that you get really quite meets your need as far as desktop environments. Now, there are many, many, many distributions out there that have many different types of desktop environments, from KDE, GNOME, XFCE, Enlightenment, Cinnamon, Budgie, they've got tons of different desktop environments out there that are all functional. They all work well. They have their purposes, but some of them are just for some people. Other ones are just not for people. It's up to you. It's what your preference is. Linux offers a wide range of desktop environments, such as the ones that I've just mentioned, each with its own unique look and feel, which is what I've said. Take some time to explore different options and choose the one that actually suits your preferences or looks like it's going to suit your preferences. To do this, it's as easy as using a Ventoy on your USB, which Ventoy is a cross-platform application when you download the ISOs. And if you're coming from Windows, it's cross-platform, so you can use it on them. On Windows as well, you can just go download it, run the executable, and what it does, it's going to erase your USB and it's going to make it like a huge hard drive where you just drag and drop your ISOs onto it, and then you can boot into that USB from your BIOS and test drive your ISOs that you put on there. And it will only allow you to hold as many ISOs that will fit on the USB. That is the best way to test drive your distros to see which one looks and feels like you. Try them out one by one till you find the one that makes you say, In the live environments, you can change the wallpaper, you can tweak the theme, and you can even add widgets to your desktop. However, in GNOME, unlike KDE, for instance, because KDE allows you to customize every doggone thing, GNOME, it's a little harder to do this, but you can still get this done with tools like GNOME Tweak Tool. So that's a tool, if you decide to lean towards GNOME, that you're going to want to use in order to customize your desktop to the best way that makes you feel like it works best for you. Personalizing your Linux desktop will make you feel like it's your own, and that's important. You gotta own your desktop environment. You gotta own whatever interface that you're using to use your computer. I mean, there's just, if it don't feel like home, then you're not going to want to spend time on it. You're not going to have a good experience. That's important. I think customizing is as equally important as making sure your systems are up to date when you first get it installed, so you got the latest and greatest of everything going on. Lastly, let's go ahead and talk about essential software. Linux comes with a variety of pre-installed software applications, but there are a few must-haves. But let's be real here. There are distributions that are all over the place with the software that already come pre-installed. You have some that are very minimal and lightweight, right down to the actual desktop environment is a lightweight desktop environment, and they don't come with hardly any apps. One of the must-haves that I would recommend or to include a web browser. After all, we spend most of our time watching the Linux tube, right? I'm sure y'all keep watch that Linux tube all day long and all night long, or at least you should be. If you aren't, as a whole, pretty much so on any OS out there, whether it be Windows, whether it be Linux, whether it be BSD, whatever, web browsers are used 90% of your computing time. This is a study that has been done. So make sure that you get a good browser. Firefox is a default usually in most distributions. However, Vivaldi or Brave are great alternatives to Firefox. I would take Vivaldi over Brave because it's much more flexible. The integration for security that it has in there, the ad blockers, all that good stuff is already there in the foundation. Also, you got tab, you can tab groups. You also have email clients on there and calendar clients that are built right into it. I mean, it's really the epitome of a one-stop shop. It really takes, for me, it makes my workflow go a lot easier because I wind up only going to one place instead of having so many things open. It doesn't, I don't think, minimize the RAM use, but at any instance, I just have one place to go and it's easier to keep track of those things. So then the second other essential software must-have that I would recommend is a media player. It's an important one. After all, how else would you watch those downloaded TLT videos, right? It's okay. You have my permission to pirate my videos. No problems. Keep watching them over and over and over again. But it's better if you watch them streamed off YouTube. It helps me out in the end, the AdSense revenue. Yeah, In this case, I'd say that VLC is another great one. However, it is mostly a default one on most distributions. The other one it tends to be is MPV. It's not bad. But the reason why I like VLC over MPV is because it's literally the Swiss Army knife of all players. It plays it all. It even allows you to stream things as long as the format's in an M3U format. So you could use it also as a actual movie player, video player, and MP3 player. You don't have to have both. But if you have to, don't want to use VLC because you have some reason why you don't like it, you can use MPV, and then you could use something like Amrock, Lollipop, I think, is a player. There's several different ones. You can just find or Google music players for for Linux, and you'll come up with a plethora of them. If these aren't installed already, it's okay. Don't worry about it because most Linux distributions have a software center or a package manager if you want to use the command line, which command line means going into the terminal and typing in the package manager commands to make them install packages where you can easily search for and install all these applications. So if you can't figure it out how to do, if you can't figure out how to do it, just do a simple Google search, and that will help you out all the way. You'll find videos galore, a ton everywhere. By following these 3 steps that I've just given you, updating your system, customizing your desktop environment, and installing those essential software, you'll be well on your way to enjoying your Linux desktop and creating a much more positive Linux experience for yourself. Remember, Linux is all about freedom and flexibility. That is something that we tout emphatically over Mac OS and Windows. You can customize your desktop either way. The flexibility is something that we're very proud of. So don't be afraid to explore and try new things. It's going to be a great time. The worst case scenario, you're going to learn some stuff about Linux that you A, didn't know because you're new to Linux, and B, you're going to also learn something about yourself. Your willingness to see things through, one, the ability that you can actually do some stuff and surprise yourself and get stuff done that you didn't think was possible, because there's lots of tutorials, and the Linux community is a great community. I talked about that in a video I just made a little bit ago about, migrating over from Windows to Linux. But the Linux community is here to help you. There's a lot of people. If you can't, seem to find a forum out there that works for you, you can always try Discord. Join my Discord. Join the LinuxTube Discord. I know I don't push it very much in the videos. I probably should start pushing it more, but the Linux Discord has a lot of useful people. There's a lot of developers in there as well, too, that can help you out if you have questions. You just got to be sensible in the way you ask. That's it. You guys, tell me, does this help you? If so, comment below, please, and hit that like button. Don't forget to smash the hell out of it. And maybe consider joining the channel. It's $1.99. It's cheaper than anything out there. I mean, it's a lot cheaper than a soda. It's cheaper than an energy drink. It's cheaper than a pack of smokes. It's cheaper than anything. I mean, you're just you're helping throw an old dog a bone, man. Please. If you like this type of content, definitely consider joining that. Till then, y'all do what you do. Y'all keep on Linuxing. Stay blessed. Stay safe, and I'll see you in the next one. Before we go, though, I got to say thanks to some people on the way out.